I became involved with wires several years ago, and it was because someone had been out shooting, shot a wallaroo, and it had a baby in its pouch, and they had it for a while. And after a few weeks, the novelty wears off, and I said I would love it, and I had that little kangaroo and a wallaroo and raised it, and and then he took off when he was ready to go and broke my heart. So it was then that I realised that I really needed to know more, and I also realised that it's illegal to do that, and then I got more knowledge. Then I started to take on some kangaroos and wallaroos and so on, and I just fell in love with them. You're not meant to fall in love with them, but you can't help it because they are like, a helpless little baby that's been orphaned, and they need you. WISE is, well, it stands for Wildlife Information and Rescue Services. And basically, it informs people about our wildlife, and it also helps rescue animals that perhaps, have been injured on a fence or roadkill, or, often birds like beautiful wedge-tailed eagles with broken wings, reptiles like blue-tongued lizards and goannas and snakes, and so it's all sorts of creatures, but basically wildlife. The wires I'm involved in is in the Wedden area, which includes Forbes and Grenfell and Cowra and surrounding areas. So it's a combination of Cowra and Weddenshire. What normally happens is there's someone on phone duty and from our volunteers, and I've done that, and that's interesting too because you learn a lot about the different animals that do come into care. Then perhaps that person might say, "Oh, we've got a kangaroo. I'll ring Belinda and see where she's at," and I can never say no. Never, it doesn't matter how busy I am or how many I've got, I can never say no, because it's a commitment that I really do enjoy, and it is a big commitment. And so I'll say yes, I'll take that one, and especially if it matches up well with the others. And then if they're really little, it is 24-hour care. So you have to get up a couple of times at night for the bottles and feeding and rebagging them and that sort of thing. So, yeah, if they're a bit older, it's not quite as difficult, and gradually you get them outdoors, and then from outdoors, gradually they progress to onto being released. And there's two top types of release. There's a soft release, which is when they're ready, say, to leave the property here, they'll just go off and live in the bush, or perhaps if it's not an area where they're safe to do that, then you have to bag them and take them yourself in the car and release them somewhere that's appropriate. You wouldn't normally release a kangaroo on its own because they do like each other. They are, very loving animals towards each other, and they're very family orientated, and so they sort of develop their own little mob, and so it's nice to release several of them together. I think if there's two messages that I could get across, and I think Wise would feel the same way as well, is, if you see a dead kangaroo, a fresh dead kangaroo, check the pouch. I mean, that is the worst thing, that the baby having agonising slow death is terrible. So we'd love to be able to educate people to check the pouches, and also just to be aware of their fencing, because we get kangaroos as well, or wildlife in general, with injury from barbed wire fencing. It's shocking. The damage that the barbed wire does is just terrible. So, and you can have sort of softer fences and just improve them, yeah. Anyone can get involved in WISE. The thing is, you just have to be aware of the commitment that you take on, depending on the animals. Some are easier than others, but anyone can get involved. There is a basic course that touches on each area, like birds, reptiles, macropods, etc., and you get a basic knowledge on the different types of wildlife. and from then on you can start caring for them. And if you want to specialise in something in particular, then there are other courses so that you can do that. So, and we really do need more people to be involved, because there's a lot of wildlife out there, and when they're rescued, it's sometimes it's very busy. Different times of year, you'll find you're busier with different types of animals, different types of rescue. But the good thing about it is it's so rewarding, just seeing the little ones just go back out into the wild.